and welcome to this episode of the Runners Podcast with Rotokgolo. And today we are going to be talking about running tips for the beginners. And I am so excited to be talking to the beginners because this channel is not about the seasoned runners or the experienced runners only, or it's not about the interviews, but also tips to the new runners and the experienced runners, and to learn from the experienced runners. And for that, I say a very warm welcome to this episode. And if you are new to this channel, please click the subscribe button at the bottom of the screen. And if you are a returning subscriber, thank you for tuning in and subscribing to this channel. And I say to everyone, please like, comment, and share this channel. As a beginner, you might get intimidated by the experienced runners, or maybe they are talking amongst themselves, or maybe some running jargon and so forth. And also you might commit certain mistakes that are avoidable. And for that, let's start with tip number 1. You need a proper running kit. I'm saying a proper running kit, but it doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be any expensive brand or a specific brand. For example, you need proper running shoes, you need running clothes, and you might need other additional items to the two that I've mentioned. Let's start with running shoes. Running shoes are important because in running you are mostly using your legs or your feet to run, and to avoid injuries you need a proper running shoe. Question is, how do I get a proper running shoe, or how do I know that I am using a proper running shoe? So I advise you to go to your local sports shop. And when you get to your local sports shop, an expert will analyze the gait of your foot, or the gating of your feet. And what is the gating of your feet? Usually they will ask you to run on a treadmill for just few minutes, or just to run outside, and they will look at your style of running. Some of us have got high arches. You need a shoe that will accommodate your high arches. And some of us are overpronating, which is you are running outside. Some are underpronating, meaning they are running inside, and some are running flat. And for those three different types of running styles, you need a shoe that will accommodate your feet so that you can avoid the running injuries. For your running clothes, you need a top, and you need maybe a tight pants or even leggings. So get something that you are comfortable with. So some would prefer to run with tights, some prefer to run in shorts, or a combination of both. And it's up to you and what is comfortable to you. As for your top, an expert will advise you on something that what we call a moisture management top, or t-shirt. It might be a t-shirt or even a vest. Something that that is washable, and when you wash it, the sweat and the smell will go away. And for the ladies, I advise that you ask the expert in the sports shop to recommend to you a proper running bra. And a proper running bra, an expert would know something that will be a good fit, something that will not cause chafing on your body. Now that you've got your running gear, you can still get additional running kit such as a cap, You might also need a buff depending on your running conditions. If you're running outside, it's cold or it's windy. You might also need a watch, or you can use your cell phone. Those you use normally to track your runs, because it is important whilst running that you know the time that you are running or the distance that you have run, so that you can measure yourself. As a beginner, I would advise that you use the resources that you have. There is no need for you to invest in expensive wearables. And now that you are sorted with your running kit, the next is the surface. It is important to understand the different running surfaces and the pros and cons that comes with each of them. And there are mainly 3 types of running surfaces that you are going to come across. Indoor, you run on a treadmill. Outdoors, you can run on the pavement or on the tarred road, or run on the gravel, or what we call off-road, or on a trail. If you are running indoors on a treadmill, it is conducive to, especially if the weather conditions outside are not favorable, or you do not have time, or you've got a gym membership. It is of advantage to you if you have a gym membership, or you have a treadmill back at home. And then the next surface is the tar or on the pavement. The downside of the pavement is that it can be heavy on your joints because it's a very hard surface as when you are pounding on it. So, but that is the common surface that most runners run on. And then an advantage to running on is that most people, because they are running on that surface, you can get running buddies. You can get a group that you can run with. Most of them they run on. It's an outdoor, and that is the common type of surface that most runners or most of the running races run on. The third type of surface, it's gravel or trail or off-road. An advantage to running on a trail or on a gravel is that it is easy on your joints or on your feet, unlike the pavement or the tar. But the downside to running on the trail is that you might it is usually uneven, and it might have some stumps that are protruding out, or it might have sharp objects that can prick you or can trip you. So it is advisable that when you run on a gravel, you mind your steps and you watch the surface as long as you run, so that you can avoid injuries. And one thing that I need to mention is that if you are running on a trail, it is important that when you go to your running shop for your running shoes, you explain to them that I'm going to run trail, because the trail shoe has a different type of cushioning, and the under the shoe sole it's not the same as the normal shoe that you use for running on, be it on a treadmill or on a pavement. So it is important to explain to the expert at the sports shop to recommend either a trail shoe or a normal running shoe. The third tip is the plan. A plan, you must set yourself goals, your running goals or your goals while you are going to start running. There are two variables that you can use to measure yourself. Either you say I'm going to run a distance, or I am going to run time. Let's say, for example, you set yourself 20 minutes as a start, or you say, I'm going to run distance, maybe just around your block. I will say, I'm going to run around my block. And if you are running time, do not put yourself under pressure because you're a beginner. Stick to your time. If you run 20 minutes, maybe you run 10 minutes to and 10 minutes coming back. And then if you run around your block, you will obviously circle around your block, or you will move from this point and say, I'm going to turn at that point and come back. Now that you've set yourself a goal, distance or time, irrespective of those two, you need to measure. And as I've said, you can use a watch, or you can use your smartphone to measure your runs. And another thing that I would recommend is that as a beginner, you can also identify a race that it's upcoming maybe in the next 10 or 12 weeks, and say, I am practicing for this race, maybe I'm going to run a 5 or a 10 kilometer. So give yourself enough time when you start to when you want to run your first race. And if you are going to run a 5 or a 10, start small and then slowly increase your runs or your times so that they align with the race that you have earmarked to run. And part of your goal maybe might be to lose weight. And if you want just to lose weight, it's also a target that you might have set yourself. My advice, this is my personal advice to the beginners, is that at least you run 3 times a week. So the plan that you have set yourself, do it 3 times a week. And doing it 3 times a week, I would advise that you run day 1, you rest day 2, you run day 3, rest day 4, and maybe rest day 4 and 5 and run day 6 and rest day 7. Or you run day 1 and rest day 2, you run day 3, rest day 4, you run day 5. Then you take 2 days rest for the week, and then you start again the following week. That way you giving your body a chance to adjust, because you, as a beginner, your body will be shocked with the new activity that you just introduced. So give your body a chance to acclimatize or to get used to the new habit. And just bear in mind that pain is part of the process. But do not be deterred, because I guarantee you that if you run for the first time, you will come back with a sore body, sore feet, and so forth. But do not be despaired. So hence I am saying that run the first day and then take the rest the second day for your body to adjust and to get used to. And then on the third day, go again, so that your body will now start getting used to, starting accustomed to the new norm. And now that we have our kit sorted, we've got our kit, we know we have a plan, we know what surface we are going to run on. The 4th tip is as important. So before you go out for to get started, you need to know the following. You need to know before you start up, you need to warm up, and then you need to know what to do when you run. And lastly, you need to do a cool down after your run. What is a warm-up? A warm-up is you can do a 2 to 5 minutes walk just to get your body ready for your run. And after you have done your warm-up and you are now ready to run, you can start your run. And a plan that you can incorporate when you start running is that, let's say for example, you can run 3 minutes and then walk for 1 minute. Note that walking is part of running, and do not feel ashamed during your run when your body cannot take it anymore, just to take a break and walk. But the most important is that you do not stop and sit down and rest. No, you rest by doing walking or incorporating walking in your run. Even if you are running on a treadmill, you're running on a pavement, or you are running on a trail, you can incorporate your run-walk strategy. A run-walk strategy can be broken, or it can be done in 2 different ways. If you are measuring with time, you can run maybe 3 minutes and walk 1 minute. Run another 3 minutes, walk 1 minute. So that up until you finish your run. You can also use distance to measure your run-walk strategy. Maybe, for example, there are street poles or street lights where you are running. You can walk, you can decide to say, I am going to run 3 poles and 1 pole I walk. And then you run 3 poles, walk 1. 3 poles, walk 1. Up until you finish your running. The most important thing here is that you complete your run. Do not, please note this, do not, because I repeat, do not be ashamed to run and walk, because you are not doing it for the people who will be watching you, who will be seeing you on the street, or anyone who is a spectator. You are doing it for yourself. Now that you have finished your run, it is important to do a cool down. A cool down can be, it's a simple 2 to 3 minutes of walking. But most importantly, after you have done your cool down, you must stretch you must stretch your legs. And stretching is as important as warming up, because when you do your stretching, you are helping your muscles to relax because they have been engaged in an activity. Stretching is it's something that you do after each and every run, whether you are a beginner or you are an experienced runner. So it's important that you end your run by doing stretching. Remember that this episode of tips for the beginners, we are only scratching the surface. We are just giving a generic advice as to how to start. We will in the future invite experts who will talk about your gait analysis, and we are also going to invite the experts who will tell us about stretching, what type of stretching techniques you can incorporate, and we will also advise fitness trainers that will talk about cross training. We will also talk more, or we'll also dig more into the running programs. If you want to say maybe run 10 kilometers, 21 kilometers, a marathon, and so forth. And now that you have tips on how to get started, we say good luck in your running journey. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and comment. And you're saying good luck, and we will see you in the next episode.